Hello everybody and welcome to the commented games with Antelacus. Antelacus, it's me, an Italian national chess master, and I will comment with you some of my daily chess games, those I consider the most interesting ones I played recently on the platform chess.com. Okay, let's start with today's game. I was black, as you can see. And you can see the result. I lost this game. It was a quick knockout, so 1 day per move, and it was the final. I reached step by step the final of this tournament, and the final was 2 players final, me and my opponent. You can see his name. And okay, let's start with this game. The game is as more or less ever a Sicilian. Another, and my opponent chose h3. This is known as Adam's attack, but I know this move because many years ago Fischer, the great Bobby Fischer, played this move with this comment: "Oh, black wasting a tempo with a6. Why I cannot waste the same tempo with h3?" Of course, that's a joke, but a3 has a logic. Behind h3 there is a logic. The logic is to play g4, but without playing f3. There is a variation: bishop e3, e5, knight b3, and then f3 and g4. This is the same idea, but with h3 instead of f3. Better, not better. I think it cannot be better, but has a logic. And I was very surprised after this move. So I played e5. And my opponent played knight e2, knight de, of course, de2. And that was another surprise. What play here? And I decided to play a move like h5. Okay, this game was played before another game I commented here on YouTube against a grandmaster. And against this grandmaster, I played h5 in a similar situation, but not with h3. So I decided to play this move and see what's going on. To avoid g4, I didn't like g4 because I was absolutely convinced that my opponent was well prepared with this variation. So I played this move, and my opponent played g3. And g3 with the idea of bishop g2 and short castle, of course. I was thinking, I played absolutely logical moves, b5 and a4. Okay, a4, b4, knight e5, takes, bishop f5. And this game is very similar to the game I commented against GM, a game that finished with a drawn, and you can find it on my channel on YouTube. Okay, and this is standard plan. Taking on d5, the pawn on d6 is weak, but the column is closed, and the bishop is a very good bishop. And now another strange move happened, c3, and that's very interesting, because the knight on e2, take back, the knight on e2 has no squares. After c3, if I take, there is a good square on c3. But I think there are no other moves, because a5, for example, takes, and b3, and this passer, I absolutely don't like this passer. Stockfish tells this is a possible continuation, but I absolutely don't like it, because long term this pawn will be very dangerous. In an endgame, I'm completely lost, very probably. So I decided to to take on c3. Sorry, to take on c3. And now this knight can be very strong on e4, blocking my pawn, attacking this weakness. But I decided to play this move. Bishop e7, a5, immediately a5. And now I started to think that my position was not so good, I was thinking, because knight a4, knight b6 is an idea. Connected with bishop e3, this can be very dangerous. But for the moment, I have no choice. I must castle, develop my knight. So I cannot choose my moves. I can choose the sequence of moves. And I played immediately knight d7. Castle. And now I cannot castle because h5 is hanging. Okay, I cannot castle. But of course I can play h4. Making use of this good pawn. g4, bishop g6. But take a look. I'm behind development because I have the king still in the center, so next move will be absolutely castle. And now this pawn is weak. This pawn is very potentially dangerous. And this march can be an idea. Bishop e3, castle, absolutely logical. Queen d2. Frankly speaking, I don't really understand queen d2. I think maybe queen d3 can be better. Queen e2, sorry, can be better. Queen d3 is not better. But queen d2, I really didn't understand why. Okay, I understand this rook can go to c1, on b1 is not possible. But what queen d2? Queen d2 maybe is better. Okay, I played rook b8, trying to activate the rook. And now queen e2. What's going on? Queen d2, queen e2. Okay, attack this pawn. And okay, at first glance, queen c8 can be a move, but I didn't like rook c1, queen b7, attacking this pawn, and knight a4. And with the idea of knight b6, and here I'm very passive. I didn't like this. So, as you probably know or learn by my other games, I commented here also, I don't like to defend. I like to create reactions, counterplay, but I don't like to defend passive positions. So I decided to play a very, very strange move. No, okay, not a strange move, but not so logical. Because, and it was the same I played in, I invite you to watch the other video against a grandmaster I posted here. And there is a similar position and a similar counter attack. I played f5. f5 can be an idea. Okay. Pawn takes, of course, cannot take. Queen takes a6 now is completely wrong because there is f4. And here, for example, I don't know, oh, bishop here, f3 is completely crashing, bishop h1. I'm a pawn down, but I think here, knight c5, yes, knight c5, queen c4, bishop d3, winning an exchange, that's for example. Okay, so this is not a pawn sacrifice. And my opponent took on f5. Bishop takes, now I have a target. This pawn, not easy to attack, but another idea was to play knight f6, knight h5, and knight f4. For the moment, it's not possible, but sooner or later can be possible. And my opponent took on a6. Okay, I took on b2, and I was absolutely convinced that here I had a very nice counterplay, very nice game. This passer can be very dangerous, but for the moment cannot be pushed, and this weakness is very important. I'm trying to mobilize my knight, okay, as you can see by yourself. And here it can be a tempi contest, a tempi challenge. And how I was surprised when I saw the next white's move, King h1. This is really a mysterious move because, okay, you want to move your king, and I was absolutely convinced that white's idea was to play rook g1, bishop f1, attacking on this column. That is a completely wrong idea, but I could have understand king h2 defending h3 to the limit. I can play, I don't know if I can play bishop g5 because d6 is hanging. I don't know. But king h1? What's king h1? I really didn't understand king h1. Okay, it doesn't matter. I play knight f6, continue with my plan. Queen c6, and that's absolutely logical because now this pawn can march. And it's a deadly pawn. I must hurry with my counterplay here. And here, I repeat, it was a 1 day per move chess tournament. So I didn't have so much time to think, to analyze. And here I started playing bad moves. With few time here, I needed more time to think, to analyze. I have no much time. I repeat what I told in these videos. I play many games at the same time, more than 30 sometimes, so I have no much time to think. And more or less my daily games are rapid games. And okay, this way you cannot play a very good game. And here, after long thinking, not so long, but for me very long, I decided not to play knight h5, but I played rook b8, and this is a stupid move. This is a stupid move because I'm threatening rook c8, but winning the knight, but it's obvious that my opponent will do something against that, and he played rook c1, the most obvious move, and my rook now is not so active. But I wasn't absolutely convinced that rook a8 was blocking the pawn. And now another stupid move, bishop d7. Here knight h5 was absolutely requested. Bishop d7 is a completely stupid move. But my idea was that after bishop d7, the queen will go on c4, and now knight h5. And my idea was to play knight f4 without a problem to take with the pawn. If white takes, I will take with the rook. That was my idea. Because in this position, if I play knight h5, I don't know what, okay, a6. Now, knight here, bishop takes. And I think white is better here. White's absolutely better because this pawn is marching, knight e4 is coming. I'm very passive. This is a very bad bishop. Okay, I can play bishop f6, bishop e5. I don't like this position strategically. It was something like, I don't know, like sometimes when I'm playing chess, a bell starts ringing in my head. Oh, danger, danger, danger. And here it happened. Danger, 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 danger. Here the pawn is a danger, not for the moment. And I started to think in the wrong direction. Playing bishop d7, it's not correct. It's too slow. But I wanted to play knight h5 and knight f4 with this column open. This was my concept. Queen h4, knight h5, and knight e4 is very strong. Now knight e4 is very strong. Knight f4, I was very happy. Oh, okay. Bishop d7 is not an active move, but now knight f4, and I was absolutely convinced that my opponent would play king h2 to defend this pawn. What else? I take the pawn. It's a pawn. Okay. And after king h2, I was thinking about knight takes, very probably king takes. And here, I don't know, but the king is very weak. Oh, -3, 21. Oh, black is winning. How can be winning? Queen e8. Okay, queen e8. Idea queen g6, and light squares are very weak. Okay. So king h2 is not correct. Oh, I didn't realize it. And my opponent played queen c7. What's queen c7? I absolutely didn't expect queen c7. Absolutely. And here there is a problem. The pawn on d6. And there is a passer. And if white can create another passer, for me it's a disaster. And queen c7 is absolutely a crashing move. I didn't just for a moment analyze this position, queen c7, in this position. And if I take on d5, can I take on d5? And after taking on d5, queen c4 again. Bishop e6, and a check very probably. Bishop takes, I must take, check, and then the pawn marches. A very strange, and when I saw this variation, something started to ring. Another bell started and started ringing in my head. Because queen c7 is a very strange move. And you can think anything you like. Because in this position, I have no choice other than taking on h3. And with the knight, of course, not with the bishop. And I took, but after queen c7, I was completely astonished. Because my opponent found something crashing, completely crashing. I realized only now that this pawn cannot be stoppable. And so after a long think, I played knight takes, queen takes, rook takes. I took with this rook and not with the other rook because I needed to be active with this rook. Okay, I took with this rook. Bishop takes, and I'm a pawn up. But I'm a pawn up. But the position is very difficult because this pawn is very dangerous. This knight is perfectly placed. My bishop on e7 is a terrible bishop. I will never activate this bishop. And it's white to move, and white played knight e2. I really don't understand this move. At first glance, of course, because the knight is so good placed here. Why move it? a6. a6 is for sure a move. And I was absolutely sure that this pawn could be blocked some way. But my opponent played knight d2. And now I understand the idea. The idea was to play knight c4 and knight b6. There's another problem. Okay, knight d2. And I started thinking how to stop this held pawn. And I must admit, I didn't find a real convincing way. So I decided, if possible, to sacrifice an exchange for this pawn. It would be great. And the move was rook d7. Rook d7 has the idea to play rook f8, and when the pawn goes to a7, there is a bishop, there is a rook, but sooner or later I was convinced to sacrifice the rook on a7. An exchange. Not immediately. And so I played rook d7. Rook d7 is wrong. But this was my idea. a6, bishop f5 to stop this knight, because if the knight moves there is a check, taking this pawn. King h2, now king h2, yes, there is no check now. Okay, rook a8, stopping the pawn, a7. Now my idea was to stop the pawn, because knight c4, knight b6 is met by rook takes, this rook takes a7. So it's not possible. So I start thinking, where is my counterplay? My counterplay is here. So I must play g5, g4, and so on. But with a king on g8 in this rank, there is a very dangerous idea. Rook c3, rook b3, and rook b8. So the king cannot belong to the last rank. And I play the king f7. And now rook a3, frankly speaking, rook a3 is the wrong move, because rook c3 with the same idea, I think. Okay, he played rook a3, very strange move. And I played, okay, this is another wrong move, because it's time to play g5. It's time to play g5. I played bishop d8 to stop the square, with the idea of trade the knight here. But this move is wrong, because d6 is hanging now. You will see. Bishop d8, rook c6, good move. King f6, activating the king, because now my idea was to play g5, but not immediately. I decided to activate my king first. More or less it's the same. Rook a6, attacking the pawn, and bishop e7 again. Okay, for the moment, nothing is still lost, but I'm very bad. I have a bad position. This pawn is very strong. And my opponent played rook a3. What? Rook a3? Take a look. This was the position. He played rook a6, bishop a7, rook a3. Oh, I was completely astonished. My opponent played a repetition of moves. You should know that this was the final. 2 players, me and my opponent. The final of the tournament. The winner will win the tournament. Okay, for me it's not so important to win a tournament. I like to enjoy myself. And if I win, okay, it's better, of course. If I lose, better anyway. And there were two games, one with white and one with black, with the same opponent. In the other game, I was 2 pawns up, but in a very difficult endgame, and it wasn't also an endgame. It was with few pieces, but it wasn't an endgame. My opponent had very active pieces, and my 2 pawns were very, very weak. And if I lose this game, the other game I must win, because I can tie, win 2 wins with white, and in this case the 2 players will be declared winners, tied of the tournament. Okay, so if I lose this game, and it's very probably that I will lose this game, I must win the other game. there is no doubt about that. And the other game, I decided to sacrifice one of my 2 last pawns to free my position, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough because the end game was absolutely drawn and not so difficult to defend with black for my opponent, because in the other game I was white. So this game must be analyzed together with the other game. I don't present you that game. It's enough to know that I was trying to win with 2 pawns up, but very difficult. So why my opponent plays rook a6, bishop a7, rook a3, repeating the moves? Why? In the other game he was maybe losing. And here I decided that bishop d8 again, repeating again the moves, was not the correct idea. And as you can see, the bar starts dancing, and I thought, okay, it's a tempo. I played g5, now it's time to play g5. And he played rook a6, but the other rook. What do you think about this back and forth with the rooks? And here the bell starts not ringing but shouting me. Absolutely shouting me. But what to play here? I'm completely tied down with my bishop on e7, this terrible bishop. I didn't know what to play. Okay, g4 seems to be the move. But I made another attempt to free this rook, playing rook c7. The idea was to play rook c2, yes, and then g4 and g3, something like that. Creating a counterplay. As you told in more or less every video, I don't like to defend. I want to play active chess. And rook c7 is an attempt. And my opponent played rook a5. Again, back and forth without construct. Very strange. And my opponent played quite well, or very well in this game and also in the other game. Why now he's doing so back and forth without construct? And now it's time to play g4. g4 is an obvious move. Stockfish does not agree, but g4, in my opinion, is the best move here. And now the idea is very easy. King g6 and bishop g5, but are too tempi, not easy to realize. Rook b3. And now the idea is obviously rook b8, and I have no tempo to play king g6 and so on. So I played another stupid move. I must admit, another stupid move. Bishop d8. Attacking this rook. Okay, I don't attack this rook, but the idea was to control the b6 square in view of rook b8 and then knight c4, knight b6. This was my idea. It wasn't correct. It makes things worse, but I was convinced that this game was lost. Rook a6, attacking in the pawn, and bishop e7 is the only move. So I lost 2 tempi, bishop d8, bishop e7. And okay, let me see what can you play here? And of course my opponent played rook b8, rook c8, takes, and a pair of rook is gone. Maybe it's good for black because I had 2 passive rooks and white had 2 active rooks. With just 1 rook, it's more difficult to win this game. And now I was convinced that knight c4 was the move, was winning. And frankly speaking, I didn't know what to play. No, just a moment. Knight h4, knight c4. Oh yes, I prepared bishop d3. This is a losing move because, for example, okay, knight b6 is not the best move because in this position I can sacrifice the bishop on the pawn, and then this pawn I can trade it any moment, and this pawn is weak, and very probably I will take it. So after knight c4, bishop d3, knight c4, bishop d3. Very probably I'm pinning the knights is very simple. Rook here defending this guy. Yes, and knight b6. Bishop d8. Can I save in this position? No, I cannot save. Knight takes d6. Yes. And this pawn is too important. Okay, it was lost, completely lost. So my opponent didn't play knight c4 and played rook a3. Another mysterious move. Why rook a3? I really don't understand. Okay, now, yes, I understood. Oh, okay, knight c4 without having bishop d3. Okay, thank you very much. King g6. I need just 1 tempo to draw this game. Bishop g5 to have a strong counterplay. But it didn't happen because now knight c4 is crushing. Completely crushing. You can analyze by yourself. Bishop g5 is not possible because d6 is hanging, is falling. So a bishop d8 is d6 is falling. So I decided to sacrifice an exchange with bishop c8. It's a desperation. Knight d6, bishop d7, takes. And you can you can say it's a crazy idea, because now there is a blocking piece, absolutely stupid. But my idea was to take this pawn with the bishop and trying to save this endgame. For example, take a look. Take a look, it's interesting. Rook b3, bishop takes, rook b8, king f5, queening, more simple chess, okay? Takes d5. White is a rook up, but I challenge you to find a simple way to win this game. A simple way. And there is no simple way, because white has a rook, a bishop, a pawn, but it's not easy to win, because this pawn can be easily traded any moment. This pawn is marching, the king is safe on e4, I can go to f3. This bishop starts to be a very passive piece. And I have a bishop too. And the idea is bishop g5, bishop f4. It's not so easy to win this game. And I try to reach this position. But suddenly, after just a moment, after bishop takes a8, my opponent play rook a5. This is a completely useless move, because, okay, I cannot take on d5, but the idea of rook b5, rook b8 is anyway met by bishop takes d5 is interesting story. So I played king f5. This can be a very useful move. And now rook b5. Okay, thank you very much. And here I played bishop f6. And bishop g5 here was not possible, because it was very simple. Takes, and now it's not the same story. Because now there is no bishops. And this is completely lost. Okay, I can play d5, but this is completely lost, because I have no bishops. And I decided not to trade bishops. But if I don't trade the bishop, what can I play? And I played bishop f6 with the idea to play e4 and bishop e5, activating the bishop. I was feeling that my position was completely lost. Okay, my feeling was obvious. And my opponent played rook b6, another strange move. Another strange move, because it attacks this pawn. Now I must play e4. This was the only possible move, e4. Okay, king g2 and bishop e5. This was the only move I could play. And instead I played bishop e7, defending the pawn. This is too passive, because I had in mind the same story. Rook b8, bishop takes, queen takes, rook takes, and d5. I had in mind this position, and this position can be reached any moment. But with my great surprise, my opponent played rook c6. A bold move. Rook c6? What's rook c6? And the bell that started shouting me at this moment started crying me and crashing my head. Rook c6? Okay, I cannot take. But why rook c6? It's a hell move. Now I played e4. What else? e4. Okay, I'm late, but e4 is the only move. King g2. So king g2 is correct. And now I play king e5, because now bishop f6 is not possible. Rook takes. And I play king e5, trying to take the pawn with the king. And my opponent play rook b6. And only now I realized, oh, I cannot take the pawn. Nor with the bishop, because there is rook b5, pinning the bishop, and I cannot sacrifice. And I cannot take with the king, because there is rook b8, bishop c6, rook c8, bishop b7, rook c8, c7, taking a bishop. Oh, that's crushing. That's absolutely incredible move. Rook b6. And I realized I was absolutely losing. I cannot take the pawn, so it's losing. I played king f6 again, because here I have no moves. Trying to get away from the fifth rank, from the pin on b5. And I think, okay, I played this move. And here another boom move followed. Bishop g5 check, that's not possible. When I saw bishop g5 check, my first reaction was, oh, a blunder. Thank you very much. It's not a blunder. It's a winning move. Because I cannot play a move like king f7 because can simply trade bishops. So I must take, and this is absolutely losing. Only move and rook b8. And rook b8 now, because bishop g5 check attracts the king on the fifth rank with the pin. So I cannot take the pawn. I tried the last attempt, a ridiculous move, e3. e3 is the last attempt, and it's a poison move because pawn takes, there is check, and suddenly the position is more or less equal. But of course, white didn't take on e3. And in case of rook takes bishop, a2, e2, ooh, cuckoo, because now you cannot stop the pawn. For example, you absolutely cannot stop the pawn. Rook g8 check, I think king f6, queening, miraculous, white has no checks. No checks, and I will start checking you. Here, so this is too dangerous. And my opponent after e3 played the only winning move, king f1. And here the position, as you can see on the bar, is completely lost. I tried to play bishop d5, hoping for a miracle. The miracle didn't happen, and after rook b5, I resigned. In the meanwhile, the other game of the same tournament, in this final, ended with a terrible blunder of my opponent. In an easy, very easy, absolutely very easy endgame, my opponent blundered in a beginner's mode. Oh, sorry, no, nothing against beginners. Of course, the beginners play beginner's move, but this was less than a beginner move. It was an absurd move, and he lost a perfectly drawish endgame. Getting through, given through, winning the first place on this tournament, and this doesn't fit with the conduct of this game and also of the other game. Absolutely. And so I resigned here, and he resigned on the other side, on the other game. 1-1, two winners, tie. But now something very strange, not so strange, happened in a few seconds, not in a few minutes, in a few seconds. And this really, I was absolutely more astonished than during the game. And okay, in the other game he resigned. Here I resigned, 1-1. And then from here I came back to my homepage of chess.com. And it was just, I don't remember exactly, some seconds, 30 seconds. And when I came back to my homepage, I saw that my opponent was banned for cheating. At the same time, there was the symbol of a circle with a red bar, a red circle with a red bar. And this is the symbol of cheating and ban. And at the same time, a message appears in my message box. And I open it, and it was written that the anti-cheater system found that my opponent cheated, and to restore my rating, the system gave me back the points I lost with this game, this game, and I was completely astonished. 30 seconds, few seconds after this game, and I really don't understand if there was some human who was waiting for the end of this game to ban him. I really don't understand, but now I can tell. I have absolutely the impression that this game was, maybe I cannot accuse any player, but this game was very strange because there were some strange moves, not human moves, starting with very first moves. Here, King H1, for example, and here Queen C7, for example, and Knight D2, okay, but here all these rook moves. Take a look, a dance with the rooks. I think, okay, I can back. A dance with the rook, starting here. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 consecutive rook moves. Oh, can be. But from a more or less equal position, I will see a losing position for me. I didn't understand during the game what was going on, because all these rook moves are not, how to say, spontaneous. And here another two incredible boom moves: rook c6 and rook b6 and bishop g5. Okay, and okay, what to say? The system decides, or someone decides, that my opponent used a program, not a computer, it's correct to say a program, to play this game. I had the same impression during the game, and that these were the two bells that started ringing in my head. The first bell was when I saw this pawn. Oh, it's a danger. And then some strange moves. Okay. Of course, I cannot be sure that my opponent was cheating, and absolutely I don't care about that. You can find this very strange. Oh, if your opponent are cheating, you are very angry, you pretend to win the game. I absolutely not. Because, okay, if I play against a computer, okay, I play against a computer. Thank you very much. I will lose for sure, because I cannot play as a computer, but I enjoy myself anyway. If I lose, nothing happens, nothing important happens, and my opponent used a computer. Stop. For me, it's over, and I accept it. But a few seconds after this game, my opponent was banned, and that was, from a side, a surprise, and on the other side, not a surprise, because was my suspicious. Okay, it's very. I wanted to show this game because any one of you can think, can build up his opinion about this game. My opinion is that it was possible that there was a cheating. I don't know, what do you think about that? But I'm not very happy about this game, independently on what was going on, because I played a bad game, bad moves, very passive moves. I didn't play a game like other games I played daily. And in my opinion, I lost correctly in the sense that it was correct that I would lose this game. My opponent played better, and okay, he was cheating. This was the decision, and okay, a sad story, I think, but okay, nothing else. And I hope you enjoyed anyway with this game, because it's an instructive game. and I hope you can subscribe on my YouTube channel. If you like, you can comment. If you like, you can see my Twitch channel when I am also Antelacus, as here. And thank you very much for following this game. And see you next game, next commented chess game with Antelacus. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.